Good afternoon, people. I guess you can pretty well figure I'm not in school anymore. I've finished all my courses, and it's very interesting to look at my courses as I stopped taking my pain pills and got the shots in my back. I can walk, don't worry, I can walk. The grades that I had went up and up and up. But we're not here to talk about my grades. We're here to talk about you, the people, and your rights. And God's right. Now, I have this book here that has the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution of the United States, got it from the Heritage Foundation, and anyone who wants one, you can get a free copy from them. Just find their website, just go Heritage Foundation, you will find it, and they'll send you a free copy. And it's got the Constitution in it, it's got the Bill of Rights in it, it has all the other amendments, and it's got the Declaration of Independence in it. Now, what this video is going to be about is God, separation of church and state, and where does God fit within this country and our government. So, I'm going to need my glasses again, because I'm going to start off with going to the Declaration of Independence. Nice little piece of paper. And in the Declaration of Independence, it says, I'm just going to read you two passages, just two, but there's other places throughout there. It says, okay, when in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them to another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the law of nature and of nature's God entitles them. Nature's God entitled them. But that isn't really the real kicker in the Declaration of Independence. The next passage is, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that are among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Separation of church and state. Is it in the Declaration of Independence? No, nowhere near. I mean, there's two passages that refer to God. And I'm sure if I go through further, there's others, but I didn't really look any further for the God. But I did look to see for separation of church and state. Not a word. Now, next thing in this book is called the Constitution. Now, the way the Constitution was written is that the Constitution itself was written and presented to all the states. Now, when our forefathers said that, they said, whoa, wait a minute, no. We know what type of government we want, and yes, we could use the Constitution to get that. But unscrupulous politicians can turn this into something much more. We don't want that to happen. I'm kind of paraphrasing there. So what did they do? They refused to sign it until the first 10 amendments were promised and started. Now, what the first 10 amendments are rights that are guaranteed you, but they're also the greatest fears that our forefathers had on a political-driven government upon its people. That's what the first 10 amendments to the Bill of Rights is. It's the fears they had. And the greatest fear, we'll get to that in a minute. But I've gone through, and nowhere in there is there the words of separation of church and state. They tell you how to set up the government. They tell you what the government can do, cannot do, etc., etc., etc. But nowhere can I find the words separation of church and state. Now, I know Thomas Jefferson wrote a lot of writings on it, because the history of the world showed the corruption of church and state combined. Matter of fact, the founding of this country was dealt with the freedom of religion because governments were regulating religions. Governments were telling people when and where they could pray. Governments were telling them what church they could pray under and what church they could not. Heck, the 12 days of Christmas is a Christian celebration. I believe in a Roman Catholic one that is a hidden code because at that time, England said you had to be Protestant. Church of England or one of the other churches, who knows? Okay? And we know churches different times have been persecuting people, like in Spain, the Inquisition. No, the great. See, so where in the Constitution is the separate? It's not. Not at all. Now, I go to the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments, and that's all we're going to discuss. The Bill of Rights, probably the two most important amendments about religion, is 1 and 10. That's right, 1 and 10. But there it doesn't say anything about separation of church and state. But what it does say is a heck of a kicker. What it says is that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise therefore. The free exercise therefore. What does that mean? Prohibiting the free exercise therefore. Prohibiting free exercise would be no prayer in school. You are prohibiting the free exercise of someone to pray. But that is government property. But they're not allowed to prohibit the free exercise of any established religion. They can't pass no laws. Well then, what do they do about these problems? Well, I said we're going to discuss another amendment. Number 10. Number 10 says the power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited it by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. What am I saying there? You, the people, have to decide whether you want prayer in school, not the federal government. You, the people, have to decide whether you want prayers at your sports events. You, the people, have to decide whether you want your council meetings to begin with a prayer and ending with a benediction. Then where did the separation of church and state that Thomas Jefferson wrote about so much come from? If it's not in the Constitution, not in the Declaration of Independence, and definitely not in the Bill of Rights. Where did it come from? I must sound like a minister on a pulpit right now. Well, actually, in this write-up that's going to be attached, it tells you at the end. It says, actually, Jesus is the one who stated separation of church and state. I've said that several times. And what Jesus says is when they try to catch him, they asked him, you know, a poor man or woman, I don't remember which, has to pay his taxes and has to pay his tithes. Which one does he pay? Jesus asked, give me a coin. They gave him a coin. He held up the coin and said, whose face is on this coin? And they said, Caesar's. Now comes the statement, separation of church and state. Then render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and render unto God what is God's. And I add, and never shall the twain mix. So, what is this all about? Why am I making this video? Because the Supreme Court has taken the very first steps at removing our ability to, let me get back to that First Amendment, free exercise, therefore. They have made rulings on things they should not have. Congress shall pass no laws, but it doesn't say anything about the Supreme Court. But the Supreme Court made a ruling that limits the free exercise of any religious prayer, which they can't do. They are prohibited. I mean, it doesn't say they should not. It says, or prohibiting the free exercise, therefore. Town wants to start its classes with prayer. They have that right. But they must respect all religions. It must be a prayer of neutral. I'll give you a good example of a neutral prayer. All of you just listen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. Does it sound familiar? No, it doesn't mention God, Allah. No, it doesn't mention Jehovah. No, it doesn't mention Buddha. It says our Father, who art in heaven. It could be the Great Spirit of all the Indian nations. Or it could be Zeus. What? It's our Father. That's all it says. It's a neutral prayer that every single person in the world who believes in a God of any form can really say. And that's the prayers we must. Nowhere in the prayer does it say, in the name of Jesus. It's just a prayer to God the Father. It doesn't give him a name. It's neutral. This we must do as a people, but we must do it within our own moral standards and respect it. Now, for you people who do not believe in God, why do you use the words of Jesus against our own government? Separation of church and state. Oh, because he was a man, he was a great politician. No, that was not Jesus. But I agree, there is separation of church and state. And we should respect the rights and wills of the people who do not believe in a God. Therefore, prayer should be of such that not hinder their rights. Silent prayer, or have the neutral prayer. They don't have to believe in heaven. Those who wish to pray to say it, they should also have those rights protected. Oh, that's a bad thing to say. No, it's that we are the United States of America. We are a nation of diverse people, and we respect all diversities, whether we agree with it or not. But nowhere, from the very day our nation was founded, July 4th, 1776, God has been in our nation. As a matter of fact, after the Constitution was written, George Washington was elected the first president. And George Washington, in his first inaugural speech, let me find it, here it is. said these words: "Such being the impressions under which I have, in obedience of the public summons, repaired to the present station, it would be particularly improper to omit in this first official act my fervent supplications to that Almighty Being who rules over the universe, who presides in the council of," of course he goes on talking about our country. So God has been with our country. To this I say that in God we shall trust. To you people who don't believe in God, that is your wish. But as a nation, in God we shall trust. We will try to do the best and the right thing. And to those who wish to pray with me, I say, pray with me. And together we pray for a greater nation than what the politicians have given us. Together we will pray. For those of you who do not believe in God, who do not wish to pray, I say to you, then don't pray. But understand the politicians in control of this country has destroyed the very moral fibers that we are. And we must put these moral fibers back, one step at a time. Do I believe in God? Wholeheartedly. I know of God. I cannot say I believe. I'm past that point. I know of God. This is something that is really a wonderful thing. Shall God rule? No. Will I trust in God? Yes. And the way I see this is, when I do my very, very best, I trust in God that it is the right thing to do. And that's the conviction I have in the trust in God. I will do my very best, and I trust it will be the right thing. So, people, this is JD. I don't go to church every Sunday. I will tell you that right now. I rarely go to church. I try to do my Easter vigil, but sometimes I don't even do that. That's where you go to church at least once a year on Easter and you receive communion and all that. But I do believe in Easter. I do believe in Jesus. I believe in his teachings. I try to live my life according to his teachings. And I will wholeheartedly defend anybody right who wishes to pray, to be able to pray. But yet I will defend those to my death, those who do not wish to pray, who do not have to pray. That's the way I've always been. Whether I agree with you or disagree, it does not matter. What matters is I will defend your right so that you can live in accordance with the promise made to you. A promise made to you. I didn't say a right. A promise. And the promise is this: these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That is a promise made to you by the Declaration of Independence, and you deserve it. So this is JD talking to you a little bit about God and country. And separation of church and state did not come from Constitution, the Bill of Rights, or the Declaration of Independence. No, just the opposite from the Declaration of Independence, it acknowledges God. And the Constitution in all the main body does not separate, but in the Bill of Rights, the greatest fear men have at that time was that the government would interfere. And the first steps are being taken. Oh, I could go through other parts of the Bill of Rights showing you where government is trying to whittle away, little ways, sideways, corners. But these are major. This is major. So people, we have to stand together. We have to tell the politicians the time has come to an end. It is now the people's time. 2016 election, we have to make it. We got to. And together we can. And then January 21st, 2017 will be the people's celebration. The United States of America will return to the hands of the people. All the people. Not just the rich, not just the politicians, not just the lawyers. From that little baby being born, the instant I am sworn in, from that baby being born at that instant to the oldest person alive, all the people shall own this country. Thank you for your time. We can do it, but we must do it together. Including you people who don't vote. You have no idea how valuable your vote is in this election of 2016. So, I move up here to close saying, with the grace of God and the blessings of you all, we shall continue. Thank you. This is J.D.